Welcome back to The Explainer, folks. Today, we're looking at the absolute pinnacle of Indian aerospace engineering, and honestly, what is undeniably the future of air dominance. If you're an exam-focused learner looking to conquer defense and strategic affairs, well, you are in the exact right place. We're breaking down India's Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, or AMCA. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive right into this. Why is the AMCA completely dominating the news cycle right now? Well, it all comes down to a really massive number, rupees 15,000 crore. The Cabinet Committee on Security, the CCS, just recently cleared this enormous budget specifically for the design and prototype development of the AMCA. And look, this isn't just funding, right? This officially kicks off the race to build India's most advanced weapon system. It literally takes it from the drawing board straight to the factory floor.
So here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll meet India's AMCA. Second, the road to going solo. Third, true stealth and strategic impact. Fourth, we'll look at the global 5th Gen Club. And finally, number 5, future timelines and manufacturing.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Meet India's AMCA. So, AMCA. What is it? It stands for the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft. At its absolute core, this is India's completely indigenous program to build a 5th-generation stealth fighter jet. And I want to emphasize that word indigenous because it is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. This isn't about, just buying off-the-shelf tech from another country. No way. This is all about domestic engineering, homegrown design, and securing total technological sovereignty in the skies. Which brings us to Section 2, the road to going solo.
Let's move to and see how this builds over time. Well, historically, India actually tried to take a bit of a shortcut to 5th-generation technology. Way back in 2007, they entered into the FGFA, the 5th-generation fighter aircraft partnership with Russia. But, the timeline shifted pretty dramatically in 2018. India actually walked out of that joint venture. Why? Well, they cited a lack of true stealth characteristics and some really significant issues with technology transfer. Basically, they realized that to get exactly what they needed, they had to just do it themselves. And that brings us right up to 2024, where India is going entirely solo with the AMCA, securing that massive CCS clearance.
So who's actually building this thing? With the funding secured, the major players are now locked in. The ADA, or Aeronautical Development Agency, well, they're the master designers. They're tasked with designing and flying the very first prototype within the next 4 to 5 years. But they aren't working in a vacuum here. They're partnering with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, the Indian Air Force, and, crucially, private sector defense giants. This is a massive, unified national effort. The whole shebang.
Moving right along to Section 3, True Stealth and Strategic Impact.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive leap in capability we're talking about. Over on one side, you have incredible 4th-generation jets like the Rafale or the Tejas. But the 5th-gen AMCA? It's fundamentally different, mostly because of true stealth. It features a serpentine air intake to literally hide the engine blades from radar-absorbent materials, or RAM, that coat the jet, and an internal weapons bay so the missiles themselves don't create a radar signature. What does all that mean? It means the AMCA can penetrate deep into heavily defended enemy airspace completely undetected. Now, because of that incredible stealth, the AMCA becomes what strategists like to call a first-day-of-war asset. I definitely want you to remember this phrase. In a conflict, the AMCA's job is to fly in invisibly on day one. Its main mission? To completely destroy the enemy's radar and surface-to-air missile sites. In other words, it basically kicks down the door so that the non-stealth jets, the Rafales and Tejas, can follow safely right behind it. It's the invisible spearhead. But the impact goes way beyond military strategy, actually. It's really about pushing the entire country into the technological elite. I mean, building a 5th-generation fighter is quite literally the ultimate test of a nation's industrial capacity. It forces massive leaps forward in things like indigenous material science, creating AI-driven avionics, and mastering advanced sensor fusion, where the pilot's helmet displays a real-time 360-degree digital battlefield. It's sci-fi stuff brought to life.
All right, let's zoom out a bit for Section 4, the global 5th Gen Club.
Think about this for a second. Right now, only 3 nations on Earth currently operate completely indigenous 5th-generation fighters. Just 3. The United States with the F-22 and F-35, Russia with the Su-57, and China with the J-20. That is literally it. By successfully building the AMCA, India joins the absolute most exclusive aerospace club on the planet. This isn't just some military upgrade. This is a monumental aerospace milestone for the nation on the global stage.
So the crucial point is, how do they actually power this thing? Because honestly, this is the main hurdle. The initial AMCA Mark I will actually fly using American GE F414 engines, but to be a true unrestricted fifth-generation fighter, the AMCA Mark II requires a much more powerful 110 kilonewton engine capable of something called Supercruise. Now, Supercruise just means flying at supersonic speeds without having to use those fuel-guzzling afterburners. And to achieve this, India is currently negotiating with France and the UK to co-develop this revolutionary new engine.
Okay, last but not least, Section 5, Future Timelines and Manufacturing.
Let's ground all this excitement in some concrete dates. Here's what you need to know for the timeline. We're starting right now in 2024 with that crucial CCS clearance. Looking ahead, the ADA and its partners are targeting 2028 for the expected prototype flight. And if all goes according to plan, the big goal is to begin actual induction into the Indian Air Force around the year 2035. But perhaps the biggest revolution here is how they actually plan to build them all. They're using an SVV, or a special purpose vehicle. This is a massive advantage. Instead of relying solely on Hindustan Aeronautics Limited like in the past, the government plans to create a joint venture model with private sector companies, think absolute giants like Tata or L&T, to actually mass produce the jet. And guys, this isn't just some boring administrative detail. This is a huge deal. It completely transforms India's private defense sector because it actively distributes that technological wealth and industrial capability across the entire country. A real game changer.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we bring it all together. To synthesize all this complex data, these are your high-retention memory triggers. Ready? AMCA equals fifth-gen fighter. Remember the primary capabilities, stealth and supercruise. Think about the physical design, the internal weapons bay. Remember its strategic role, the first day of war asset. And finally, its economic impact, the SPV manufacturing model. Keep those buzzwords locked in for your exams.
Which leaves us with this final thought. As India quite literally kicks down the door to join the elite fifth-gen club, will this new, highly ambitious SPV joint venture model successfully propel the AMCA into the skies by that 2028 target? It is a massive, massive challenge. But the payoff? Absolute air dominance. That wraps up our explainer on the AMCA project. Stay tuned, because next time we're shifting our focus from the skies to the seas as we dive into naval affairs and the fascinating induction of the MH-60R Seahawk helicopters. Keep learning, and I'll see you then.